We still talking about the sedimentary rocks, and today's lecture is the last part of the classification of sedimentary rocks. The part is we are talking now about the organic sedimentary rocks. We have been talking about clastic sedimentary rocks and chemical sedimentary rocks, and now the organic sedimentary rocks. And from its name, we can say that organic sedimentary rocks are those containing large quantities of organic molecules or whenever we find or we see organisms, living organisms, that the remnants of those or remains of living organisms, then we expect to see organic sedimentary rocks. Organic molecules contain carbon, but we don't mean carbon only here. If we talk about organic molecules, we refer here to molecules with carbon-hydrogen bonds. So it has to become with carbon and hydrogen together, such as materials from soft tissues or plants of plants and animals. For example, if we think about organic sedimentary rocks only because they have carbon, then we can call calcite as organic rock? No, because the carbon in calcite will not make the calcite an organic mineral because it is not bonded to hydrogen. So it has to be bonded by hydrogen to then we can call it, or we apply that name of the organic sedimentary rock. So an important organic sedimentary rock is coal. And everybody knows the coal, that it's a very good or very important source of energy, one of the earliest sources of energy in the world. So it's an organic sedimentary rock that is widespread and important fuel source. And here on the right side you can see the picture of coal, which is mainly composed of carbon. So most coal forms in swampy areas adjacent to like rivers and within deltas where you don't have enough oxygen. So where climates are humid and tropical. And as long as you have growth of vegetation, this will lead to an abundance of organic matter, which accumulates within the stagnant. Stagnant means stable, is not moving. Water is not moving here. Stagnant acidic water. So these are the conditions that the conditions that will lead to form a organic sedimentary rock. Humid climate or tropical climate with like stagnant water, acidic water, a lot of vegetation. These are the conditions. And if the dead organic matter is merged in oxygen poor water, means water without enough oxygen, a thick layer of material will accumulate. So rocks that were once swampy sediments or peat beds, they usually contain carbon, of course, and they are black in color and soft and fossiliferous, which means that they contain a lot of fossils in their composition. And the famous one of this, the famous rock of this is Coquina, and Coquina is a bioclastic limestone. So it's always, we know limestone is formed during the chemical process of forming sedimentary rocks. So it's a bio from biology and clastic from clastic processes. Are also organic sedimentary rocks, but they usually grouped in one, like a limestone being chemically precipitated. Okay. So the organic sedimentary rocks, they act usually as a source rock of what? Of hydrocarbons. Okay, so this is a very important key here. So usually this type of sedimentary rocks, they generate hydrocarbons, petroleum, oil. So they accumulate in reservoir rocks. And potential source rocks of this kind of reservoir are type of sedimentary rocks that are able to dispel carbon, so that to get rid of the carbon from within it. Limestone is a good example of this. So the good reservoir rocks, reservoir of oil, are any sedimentary rock that has high pore space availability, means porosity high here. This allows the hydrocarbons to accumulate within the rock and to be stored for long period of time. Then finally we get the petroleum or oil. So one example, a very good example of those kind of rocks that we call them source rocks, is the sandstone. So sandstone makes a good source rock because it is highly permeable and allows easy extraction of hydrocarbons. Here is a picture of sandstone. And hydrocarbon reservoir is not complete until it has a cap rock. Even if you accumulate, even if the oil is accumulated within the reservoir, it could migrate. But still, to have a good trap of this, you have to have a rock called cap rock to cover this. So cap rocks are rock units which have very low porosity. Why? Because if it does have a low porosity, it will not allow oil or petroleum to migrate. So which trap the hydrocarbons within the units below as they try to migrate upward. Okay. So types of these organic sedimentary rocks, as we mentioned before, we have biochemical limestone. So the calcite here, the CaCO3, is precipitated by organisms to form a shell, the shells, or other skeletal structure. Accumulation of these remains will give us a limestone, as you can see here. So the remains of these organisms. And fossilized remains of the organism are preserved, as you see in the picture, are preserved in the rock. Second rock here is biochemical chert, where we can see the silica secreting planktonic organisms like Radiolaria and diatoms. They can accumulate on the sea floor and recrystallize again during the acidification to form biochemical chert, and here is a picture of this. Okay. Third rock is diatomite, and from its name, from diatoms, they accumulate and don't undergo recrystallization. They form a white rock called diatomite. Here you go. And coal, of course, all of us knows coal, an organic rock made from organic carbon, that is the remains of fossil plant matter. And it takes long time to form this kind of rock. Here's the picture of coal. And coal actually accumulates in lush tropical wetland settings. So you have to know the conditions of the forming the coal in lush tropical wetland settings. And it requires deposition in absence of oxygen. So this is very important to know the condition of forming coal. Okay. So it is high in carbon, of course, and can easily be burned The coal can be burned to obtain energy. That's why it's a very important source of energy. Okay. So this is enough for this lecture, and next lecture we will continue with the third type of our rocks, which is called metamorphic rocks. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.